Howdy out there, David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. In today's video, I'm going to do my annual final expense leads review extravaganza. Basically, if you are in the market for some sort of final expense lead, then you have found the right video. What you can expect in this video is an in-depth conversation and analysis of what I feel are possibly the 4 top ways to market for final expense business. So kind of overall, if you've been in the business for a while, some things have not changed. And there's some other things that you might find interesting with certain lead sources that I think is a little concerning and should at least give you pause to consider before possibly working. So let's jump into what I feel is the best source of final expense leads, and that is direct mail leads. This still is the case, as it always really has been since, really forever. Direct mail leads are king. They have no restrictions geographically, so you're not in a position like with Facebook leads or with telemarketed leads where there's a big chasm of people you can't contact because of do not call rules, or some of these old people aren't on Facebook, So direct mail allows for a high level of saturation. You can hit up a lot of people in even rural areas, small town areas, urban environments, no matter what, and get lots of response. And then the great thing about direct mail that still convinces me as it being the best source of leads is the engagement factor and creation of the lead is entirely different than most other lead sources. Here's what I mean. With the telemarketing lead or Facebook lead, it's kind of an instantaneous split-second decision. And once you do it, it's kind of over and you don't really think much about it anymore. However, with direct mail, people, first of all, have been getting these leads forever and throwing them out. And they finally decided now is the time to be interested. So, and on top of that, they literally decided not to throw the lead away, as they always usually do. They opened it up, they read through it, they talked to their spouse if they have one, they thought about it, then decided to fill it out in their own handwriting, and then walk it back to the mailbox and send it back. All volitionally. Nobody held a gun to their head. Nobody was trying to persuade them, like on a telemarketing or Facebook lead. So the nice thing about this is that the leads that come back typically are much better quality. The people who are more interested. And the truth is, and this is something I found out after years of doing this, all these people receive these cards, and many of them have already sent cards back. So they know what's going to happen. You're going to show up and close them. So direct mail, big thing there. You now know why I like them. Let's talk about some different ways to do direct mail. You've got fixed price leads versus per 1,000 leads. Quick description of each. Fixed price leads are those leads where you pay a fixed price per lead, as you can imagine. And per 1,000 leads are where you drop 1,000 mailers, and then whatever you get back is what you get back. The biggest difference is on the cost per lead. With fixed pricing, you get fixed pricing. You know exactly to the penny what you're going to pay for your leads. Whereas for per 1,000 mailers, you may do better than that fixed price, but you may do worse. The variable there is response rates. So generally speaking, my recommendation to agents is to not do per 1,000 mailers. Now, in some cases, it's good, but only after you've established that an area is a good high response rate area. In most places of the country where you're going to find final expense agents, the fixed price lead is a superior option relative to the per 1,000 as far as cost control. And that's the biggest thing. We do not want to be in a position to where we're paying double or triple the amount per lead. And that's something I've talked about in videos that you may check out, old videos I did where I experimented with per 1,000 mailers. And instead of paying $32 a lead, I paid $70 a lead on average. A nice thing about direct mail is there's different variations on the card. First of all, you know what is being said, and you have some control over selection of what type of leads that you use. So there's really 3 different types of cards out there that are specific or unspecific as it stands. So I call them the bribe cards, the vanilla cards, and then the specific cards. So the bribe card usually uses a gift card to Walmart. To send this back and get a gift card to Walmart. It may list life insurance on the card, it may not. And as you can imagine, if there's no life insurance on the card, generally that draws up response rates. And in combination with using a bribe, it increases it that much more. Downside, as you may be thinking, is, well, what if these people just want their Walmart card? They don't want, some sort of life insurance. Well, that's a risk you're going to have to take if you do that. I'm of the persuasion to find the right kind of bribe card with a lot of specificity, and I think a lot of that is kind of eliminated, actually. You get a lot better response and quality response, not just volume of response. However, volume of response is something that some agents is all they care about. They literally don't care what the lead says, and their strategy is just to get in front of as many people as possible to do a presentation, and their goals are to convert as many of those into sales, either through first-time sales, cross-sales, or possibly even replacement sales. So these leads, a lot of people are just flat out confused. They think it's Uncle Sugar insurance. It's time for the government to pay their burial expenses. And you kind of have to go in on those false pretenses if you're going to do it. I don't like these leads. They just always bothered me because they were unspecific, even though a lot of these people get what it's about. But the cool thing about them is if you're okay using a strategy like that, you'll find a lot of people who are happy with their insurance. And if you're a good salesman, you might find all sorts of replacement opportunities. There are more people who think their insurance is fine when it's really not than those who are aware. And the thing is that if you get in front of unaware people and provide value, there's really good sales opportunities there. And arguably the persistency is better because they've already been paying on insurance. They believe in it. The last is a non-bribe specific lead card that says life insurance. This is what I recommend most of my agents do. The lead card says life insurance on it somewhere. In most cases, the clients understand it's about life insurance or some kind of life insurance benefit. And to me, it's the best balance of the cards that are out there. The last point here before we wrap up the section is on price points for direct mail leads. And depending on the type of lead you get, specific, bribe, non-specific, you're looking at price ranges in the $25 to $35 range. And if you want fresh and exclusive leads, you're going to have to drop mail for 3 to 4 weeks before you actually get any leads back. This is an important component to remember. A lot of organizations, unfortunately, claim to sell A leads or fresh leads, but they've been sitting in inventory for months. Sure, they've never been worked, they've never been purchased. But when you got a lead that's 3 to 6 months old, you're going to find all sorts of issues trying to actually convert it relative to what you would do if you had a fresh, exclusive lead. In my agency, that's what we do. Just fresh and exclusive leads. We don't play around with any sort of aged leads as a main type of vendor. You can also look at I like needalead.com as well as leadconcepts.com. I've heard some good things about LeadCo. Haven't actually personally used them, but if you're looking for direct mail solutions on vendors, that's where I would start. All right, so the second source of final expense leads you can get are generated from the old Facebook. Yes, that's right. Facebook final expense leads are a very popular, if not the most popular form of final expense lead generation as of 2020. Now, the pros of Facebook leads are that they are a quick turn. They take somewhere between 3 and 7 days to turn around, whereas direct mail, as mentioned previously, closer to a month. The other thing, too, about Facebook leads is despite some price increases with some vendors, the prices are still somewhat affordable. What I see now, as of January 2020, are Facebook leads between $20 and $25 a lead, depending on some of the filters that are put in. So with all that said, I want to express some red flags or concerns, maybe you could say, when it comes to Facebook leads. I've been kind of mulling over the past 3 months. Haven't really said anything up to this point, but I think I'll just allow my thoughts to be known. So I am getting the feeling that I have no data for this. This is a gut feel, so take it for what it's worth. I have a feeling that Facebook final expense leads are starting to tap out, meaning they're starting to peak in popularity. So many people rely on Facebook leads now more than any other source of final expense leads that there seems to be some changes in the quality of the leads and definitely the price. So let me describe what I mean. I think it's worth a warranted discussion. So Facebook leads. How does Facebook make money? When somebody clicks on an ad, right? And they also manage the data that a user provides willingly to show ads that are similar to the ads that they've clicked on or the groups they're joining or the interest they've expressed in order to encourage more clicks, right? Also, people 50 and older are the highest click rate demographic on Facebook, much better than the younger under 50 market. All of this has led over the past couple of years to a really positive environment to generate Facebook leads in. On the vendor side, that would cost them in many cases no more than $4, $5, $6 a lead to generate and sell for $15 to $20 a lead. So there's a lot of money that was being made and still is in the Facebook game. But when you have such a large discrepancy as far as the markup goes and the ease of ability to get leads, it attracts a lot of entrants into the marketing sphere. Again, the advantages of Facebook are clear. All you have to do is just place an order. You got leads in a week. And so that's a lot better of appeal than, say, direct mail. And so what's happened is there's a ton of vendors now. There's a ton of large organizations that are doing Facebook leads. And what's happening with our marketplace is that if you put in a Facebook final expense ad, guess what? Facebook is going to show something similar, which means another Facebook ad for final expense to that prospect. And what'll happen is that they'll click on multiple leads, fill out multiple forms because they're very simple, they're pre-filled out, they're not very there's not a lot of engagement required to complete a lead. And ultimately what happens is the space in which the people who reply to Facebook leads are a lot more competitive, I feel now, than telemarketing and even direct mail. So this has all gotten me worried. You also have the price point going up on Facebook leads. It's one thing to deal with these issues if you're paying $15 a lead. When you start getting into the $20 to $25 lead range, that's when I have worry. It's still a good deal. If you find a great Facebook vendor that produces quality leads, like some of the ones I know, great. But the thing is that you just have to be mindful of it. I would suggest you should be. Especially when you get to that price point, you start to really have to consider, well, if I'm going to pay $25 a Facebook lead, why don't I pay $30 for a direct mail lead? I'll get more saturation, a better quality of lead, and it's not nearly as competitive. Or the inverse, as we'll talk about here in a minute, why not pay $12 a telemarketing lead? Sure, it might be equivalent or slightly lower in quality, but I get 2 leads for every 1 Facebook lead. In other words, 100 telemarketing leads to 50 Facebook leads. And if they're about the same quality, that's possibly double the sales. So some stuff to think about. And that's just the bottom line on Facebook leads. They do have their place. If you need some vendor recommendations, reach out to me. I don't sell them. I just tell agents where to buy them from that I feel are a good quality source. So just reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you. Okay, now that we've talked about Facebook leads, let's speak on telemarketing leads. These are kind of like a love-hate type of lead where sometimes with some vendors you can find good quality leads, but many times you can find complete garbage that aren't even worth the low price that they usually go for. So let's talk about the pros and cons. Assuming you find a good vendor, the pros are you usually pay a third to a half the cost of a direct mail lead. They're fast turn, typically takes 7 to 10 days to turn around. And for many markets, actually, telemarketed leads are very appropriate. And what I mean by that is that sometimes telemarketed leads in certain areas provide a better type of final expense prospect. The type of person who is not on the do not call list and still has a phone attached to the wall tends to be a final expense person. So it's not a really bad match to do telemarketing despite its level of popularity waning, simply because the government has clamped down on any sort of technological edges like robocalls and avatars 3 years ago. So what you're really relegated with is outsourced solutions to Pakistan or Philippines in order to generate leads. Again, the thing here is you got to do these right. If you don't do them right, then I would just pass upon this entirely. I prefer Facebook leads, despite some of the concerns. The thing with telemarketing leads, at least for us, we've got a really good vendor. It's an internal vendor. It only provides leads for us. The owner of the call center was a former final expense trainer and salesperson, physically relocated to the Philippines, and trains his callers, not just on the script, but also on product and the people. So the type of caller we've got, I believe, is a lot better. And I think that results with a better quality lead. Our leads run $12 a lead. They take 7 to 10 days to turn around. And you have to do business with me. I don't sell leads to non-Dave Duford agents. So if you're interested in that, just reach out to me. Be happy to help you. All right, next thing here, seminar marketing. So seminar marketing is something that's been around for a while in different contexts. I've learned this from a guy named Matt Mangia. And he was teaching agents to do it a couple years ago. And I kind of took it, made it a little different, and created a program out of it. And the idea behind seminar marketing is it's a low to no cost way to generate quality leads. You literally get in front of people who are high quality and have high intent of purchasing because you've done an educational seminar to convince them that you know what you're talking about and the need for final expense insurance is pretty important. You also get the advantage of the celebrity effect. People like automatically trust you and think you're the expert when you're at the podium talking, unless you're a complete fool, which is really hard to do actually, even if you're nervous. And it's great for those agents who don't have two pennies to rub together and want to get out there and generate their own leads. Drawbacks, well, it's harder to scale seminar marketing as opposed to direct mail, Facebook, or even telemarketed leads. You can only do so many a week. If you follow a specific targeting strategy, you may have to expand your area beyond where you live and beyond normal drive time. And you may just think speaking in front of people is absolutely frightening. That's actually the advantage of this, is that if you're not afraid to speak in front of people, you really don't have much competition when it comes to seminars. There's just not that many people who are willing to do it. If you're interested in the seminar marketing program, I'm going to put a link in the description below. It's a program I teach agents that they have to buy, and then I refund them for the course, or you can buy as a standalone course and you don't have to work with me, but you get all the training. Last but not least, the conclusion. So what's my conclusion on final expense leads for 2020? I think the big thing here is to pick your poison. All right. There's always pros and drawbacks with any kind of lead solution that you do. There's no perfect solution. There's better solutions than others, I think, but all of these listed with the right vendors, you're going to find that the experience is going to be very good. And as long as you go all into one and consistently order those leads, you increase your chances of success. You know, I commonly put agents at telemarketed leads who don't have the money to do direct mail and then build into a direct mail campaign. But the key thing, though, if you're going to do final expense leads, is don't just buy 20 and make a judgment call. Commit to a full month to test out a particular type of lead before you decide to trash it. As you guys may or may not know, your results will vary, right? You know, some days are better than others when it comes to selling insurance, and you've got to get a longer term test in order to establish if a lead is good quality or if it's not. If you have any questions about leads, lead vendors, maybe some that you're interested in, you want my opinion on, best thing you can do is leave a comment below or reach out to me at davidduford.com/contact. I will personally answer all of the messages sent to me. And if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. I think that's everything I wanted to cover. All right, Dave Duford, davidduford.com.